All right, here we go. Salute to NBA Nation and Knicks Nation on this Friday afternoon. Another NBA report, Knicks Fan TV simulcast. CP the Fanchise in the building. On today's show, we're going to go inside the numbers of the NBA, man. Lots to talk about when it comes to dollars and cents and the National Basketball Association, including the new TV deal, teams up for sale. Adam Silver on the hot seat right now. So we're going to talk about it. Plus, and on the Knicks side of the house, man, we are going to get our guy Caleb Silver's reaction to what's going on with the orange and blue as we are getting closer and closer to NBA training camp. Plus, who is the missing piece for the Knicks championship run? We are going to react to it on an episode of Worst Take. So hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. Once again, today's guest, he is the editor-in-chief of Investopedia. He's everywhere if you are following his content. Our guy Caleb Silver has been gracious enough to give us some time. So let's go. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to our Fanchise channel members. Salute to everybody watching on the NBA report as well. Let's get it. All right, man. Caleb, happy Friday, man. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great. You know what time it is.
Yeah.
What's up, Knicks Nation? What's up, Knicks Fan TV? Number one show for the fans.
Absolutely.
By the fans.
Absolutely.
And you know what time it is, CP. 33 days.
30
until tip-off at
days.
MSG against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I can't wait to get the regular season started here. I am so pumped up for New York Knicks season. Let's go.
Yeah, man. I'm super hyped about it. And it felt like, you know, with all the Knicks news kind of was sprinkled in over the offseason in like good intervals where we didn't really have much of an offseason, right? Because they got deep into the playoffs, Eastern Conference Finals, almost get to the finals. So that was crazy. You were with us every step of the way. The Tibbs firing, the Brown hiring, like all of that, the free agent deals, now, you know, more vet minimum deals on the way, and then training camp. So, you know, we were able to kind of get through the off season with the Knicks in intervals. But as you mentioned, you know, they're going to be kicking off against the Cavs on ESPN. And as we talk about the NBA this upcoming season, one of the immediate changes that we're going to notice is that the content is going to be fragmented across multiple different platforms as the NBA embarks on the start on the 11-year, $76 billion media rights deal, man. Let's talk about it.
$76 billion. Somewhere David Stern is smiling. Shout out to the former commissioner who kind of got this thing going. Adam Silver's taken it over the last 10, 12 years or so. But it's an incredible deal when you think about $76 billion and all the different media partners that have a piece of it. We're talking about Disney. That's the ABC, ESPN, ESPN Plus. Of course, that's deal somewhere between $2.6 to $2.7 billion. CP, NBC Universal through NBC and Peacock, of course, that's a $2.5 billion deal. Amazon Prime Video, very, very heavy in the NBA right now, $1.8 billion. And all of this is driving more and more revenue towards the NBA. And the NBA is taking in somewhere between $9 and $11 billion. The business of the NBA has just gotten bigger and bigger. The valuations around the teams have gotten bigger and bigger. And so have the salaries, all of this mushrooming up into this global powerhouse franchise right now. And, you know, on the other side of it are fans like us trying to get tickets and see our favorite teams, you know, paying a couple $100 or at least here at the Garden. But, you know, ticket prices are crazy right now.
Yeah.
Luxury taxes are crazy. Everything's big in the NBA.
Everything is big and magnified. And, you know, what do you think about Adam Silver? Had met with the media last week or the week before that, and he was asked about access, you know, that lack of access. You talked about it. Ticket prices are going up. And now that with the content kind of being fragmented, okay, Monday it's on this network and Tuesday's this, it's all over the place. And his reply was like, basically, well, we also have the highlights for you too, so you can catch the house of highlights for the abbreviated version. What would you think about that?
Yeah, well, he's right about that, and I don't think he's too upset about high ticket prices, although it does prevent people from accessing the game with their family. You can only see like corporate suites and people that have access to tickets, longtime season ticket holders, but floor seats, forget it. But even up in the nosebleeds, you're talking about a lot of money. But the truth is, the NBA is consumed across so many multiple platforms right now. The arena is kind of the last place where things are happening, and they do make quite a bit of money from people buying tickets there and a lot of merch sales. But when we think about the fragmentation of the NBA, whether it's across social media platforms, whether it's across League Pass, whether it's across the House of Highlights, every which way the NBA can serve you content, they're serving it to you and they're monetizing it, which is another part of the reason that the association has grown so big, especially in Adam Silver's tenure. Let's do a little track record here on the commissioner here. He took over in 2014. His contract goes all the way through the 2029 season. We don't really know how much he makes, but commissioners typically make at least 10 million plus incentives, at least. So you got to think with the success the league has had, he's got to be making at least that. League revenue went from about 4.6 billion when he took over in 2014 to $11.3 billion last year. You talk about those media rights, you talk about the luxury taxes, we can get into how the NBA makes its money, and franchise values, GP, in that time went from $1.1 billion to $4.6 billion average today. So if you've been a team owner, you have benefited very handsomely from the rise. And then the media rights deals are crazy. There were $24 billion in 2016 to 2025, and this deal just ended. Now, of course, $76 billion. Talk about inflation. You're seeing it on the court.
Yeah, major. And look, every commissioner's job when they enter into these major sports is to increase the league's exposure and increase the revenue. And Adam Silver has definitely spearheaded that. But on one side, you have winners in certain respects, like this $76 billion deal. On the other side, you have our guy, James Dolan, who's been kind of the one owner who's been kind of calling the NBA out, especially with this deal and saying, hey, the more games I'm giving to you guys on these streaming platforms, the less games I'm getting on MSG Network. The regionals are suffering as a result of it. It's an interesting battle and dynamic back and forth between the league owners, the media rights, and the league.
It gets even more complicated because teams like the Knicks or the Lakers that have massive salary caps and luxury tax issues are also paying the league on those luxury taxes. Right. So they're paying into the league. They're losing revenue from the lack of games that they're giving up to the NBA through its deal. Some of that gets passed back through, but it's not the same. The valuations of these teams, talking about the Lakers, the Celtics, which just sold recently at a valuation over $10 billion, are a lot of that is baked into their coverage. So their regional cable channels are a big part of that, and a lot of them own or have big pieces of their regional cable channels. So when you start to dilute that, you dilute the valuation, even though valuation just seems to be rising. So it's a tricky media landscape for the NBA right now, but money just keeps pouring in, and it keeps pouring in from the biggest sponsors out there. For
sure. Let's talk about some of the advertising deals that the NBA is entering into this season. We have a lot of the carryover, the State Farms and things of that nature. But who do you have this year?
Yeah, well, Nike's got the on-court apparel. It's the official uniform provider of the NBA. Again, State Farm has been a longtime partner of the NBA. They're all over the NBA, in and out of commercials with the integrated ads. Jake from State Farm is pretty much synonymous with the NBA right now. Kia is the official automotive partner. That's a long-standing partnership. They also do the All-Star Awards and a lot of the activations around All-Star Weekend, if you remember that. Google Pixel is really big in the playoffs, so that's Alphabet, but it's Alphabet's Google Pixel, the camera, and they're a big part of the major broadcast sponsorships. Also, the YouTube crossover there is a pretty big deal. AT&T, of course, Pepsi, that's through Gatorade and Taco Bell, of course, Michelob Ultra, Mobile One, Adobe. So they're all there, and the top spenders are pretty much there. State Farm, Google, Kia, AT&T, Taco Bell. So they've been consistent partners for a long time. They're not just partners in the advertising and the activation around games and the big events. They're big content partners as well. So they produce a lot of content with the NBA and NBA players. There's tons of media integrations and dollars flowing both ways there.
And once again, we're talking to Caleb Silver, the editor-in-chief of Investopedia, also a diehard Knicks fan, also a KFTV Day One supporter. So everybody in the chat, man, make sure you guys are following him on all platforms at Caleb Silver, man. When it comes to content, this guy is on his grind, on his skateboard, riding somewhere in some town. So have you been taking the skateboard with you on the road, man?
Absolutely. Yeah? I can't go anywhere without it. I can't stand to walk. It's just too slow. So I just had to cruise down to Atlanta for a weekend, brought it with me there. I was really glad I had it, but it's like I feel weird without it. so like a safety blanket for me. But that's how I roll. And we got them. I got some people collect guitars, some people collect jerseys, some people collect skateboards. I'm that guy right there.
There we go, man. A couple minutes ago, you mentioned team valuations. Lakers blockbuster sale to double-digit billions of dollars. Celtics prior to that. The Suns were sold a few years back. You have the Blazers, Paul Allen's estate, being sold. The Mavs were sold. What have you made of the changing of the guard here in terms of the franchises and these enormous valuations?
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of owners that have had the teams in their families or part owners for years now that are cashing out, and they're cashing out at highs. So when you think about some of the sales, some of these, especially the Lakers, that team has been in the Bush family for forever. She still has a piece of it, so to speak, but there's a new sheriff in town there. That's Mark Walter, pretty much taking the team for a $10 billion valuation. There's some other partners, but he's going to be the governor. And the governor in these ownership ecosystems is really the one that speaks on behalf of the team and deals with the league. And the reality is there are people cashing out, but there are not a lot of people left who can really buy an NBA team when you think about how expensive they've become and how these valuations have risen over the past years, especially over the past decade. So when you think about, who are the billionaires out there that could take a team down themselves? There are not that many left. Do you think Jeff Bezos?
I was just going to say,
people thought he might have been a bidder for the Celtics.
Yeah.
Didn't end up buying it. Bill Chisholm and his crew bought that. So there's not a lot of people that can buy it. There can be some overseas interest in some cases. There's definitely overseas advertising going on and integration there. But there's just not that many whales that can take down a team by themselves. But there's still going to be a couple out there on the market. You mentioned Portland. And you mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned OKC. OKC might be up for sale as well. There's been speculation there that might happen. So we're going to get some team, maybe a new team in Las Vegas. Maybe Seattle will get a team back. That would be great. That would be a sweet return. But there's also this global expansion going on where I don't know if we'll see NBA teams playing in league from Mexico City or from Europe or other places yet, but they're definitely forming leagues there and lots of tie-ins, and there's games over there, big games over there this year as well.
Yeah, well, as you say that, with the global expansion, you have, Adam Silver also talked about NBA Europe is launching in 2027 or 2028. No timeline has been finalized, but this is going to be a joint venture between NBA and FIBA. So I think that's a little bit interesting. Then you got LeBron and Mav Carter. They want to start up a new league where they want to give the players ownership interest. So some interesting developments there.
Yeah, you're seeing the securitization of the NBA in every which way that's possible right now, and I think it'll continue beyond that. And when you think about the different ways that the NBA makes its money, how can these other startup leagues or how can the NBA continue to make money beyond its current model? And that model, when you think about it, is the huge TV deals. We talked about this massive TV deal that's worth $76 billion, but also the merchandising and the licensing. That's the jersey, the shoes, the Nike paying, to have their name on everything, the apparel, the NBA stores, the online stores, all that merchandising is a big deal. The digital direct-to-consumer is a huge and growing part of the operation as well. When you think about League Pass or the apps, you get monetization through the advertising there, and you get messaging from the NBA, and then the global expansion, NBA China, that they formed back in 2008, back in the David Stern days when he was going global with the association. That's worth over $5 billion as well. But they're also, because of the last few years of the legalization of sports betting, you see the leagues and the NBA getting deeper into that. So there's all different ways to make money as a professional association these days, and you better believe they're in every which one of them. So these upstarts that are thinking about forming their own leagues or these add-on adjacent leagues are going to be tapping into those as well, and in areas we haven't even thought about yet.
Yeah, absolutely right. And another upstart, if you will, in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia. I mean, they are heavily involved in the mixed martial arts game with TKO, the UFC, and boxing. You have the Knicks and Abu Dhabi, Experience Abu Dhabi, the Department of Tourism and Culture there. Yep. The Knicks with a long-term deal with Experience Abu Dhabi.
That'll be on the jersey this year.
On the jersey, again. The jersey patch. You have a new sphere being built in Abu Dhabi, and the Knicks will be headed to Abu Dhabi on October 2nd and 4th to take on the Philadelphia 76ers. So we have new investments coming in from the Middle East there.
Yeah, new investments and long-distance luxury travel to play games in front of new fans, and just find different ways to make money on the global popularity of the game, which is huge right now. What's so interesting to me is, like, we watch every single game. A Knicks fan TV fan, we watch every game. We obsess over it. Then we tune into you guys, but most of us consume much more content around the game than the game itself, right? Than the 48 minutes of basketball or whatever. People are consuming 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times that just between podcasts, things like Knicks Fan TV, reading about it online, watching highlights. So there's plenty of ways to make money off of that engaged audience, and the NBA has definitely figured it out.
Yeah, no question about it. One other question on the ownership topic, just to go back for a second. One thing that is interesting, especially amidst all these sales, Mark Cuban talked about the fact that these estates, the cost of ownership is going up. It's not as glamorous as people might think. Like, even though we see the valuations, we're like, oh man, with the operating expenses and the team's salaries, and we saw what the Celtics had to deal with in terms of navigating the second apron and all the luxury tax that came with it. What did you make of those comments from Cuban that said, listen, owning a team is not as glamorous because it costs so much to operate?
He's absolutely right. When you think about luxury tax payments, and because of the last CBA, we have those aprons that teams have to deal with right now. Let me just break it down for folks that don't understand the way this works. If your payroll exceeds the luxury tax threshold, and for last year that was $171.3 million, you got to pay a tax to the league, and you pay a tax depending on how much above that you go. So that escalates. That's the threshold between what the base is there and how much you're paying your players. In 2023, the Warriors and the Clippers, they each paid over $170 million in luxury taxes. I broke it down for last year to see how much each team was paying in luxury taxes, and it's crazy when you think about the size of some of these salaries right now. The Suns last year, $43 million over the tax line. They paid $152 million to the league last year, wow, right, in luxury taxes. So it's no picnic. These owners, they take a lot, grief, obviously, from their fans, but they're dealing with some massive payments here, and they have to keep their players or find the right assets to them. Second on that list was the Timberwolves, $90 million in luxury tax payments. The Knicks, $38 million in luxury tax payments. So we didn't even approach that, some of the highs from last year, and we got some big salaries on our payroll.
Yeah, no question. And as you mentioned, once again, we're talking to Caleb Silver, the editor-in-chief of Investopedia magazine. So to everybody on this beautiful Friday here in New York. As you mentioned, salaries. Salaries ballooned, man. Shout out to the breadwinners here of the league. Top 5 highest paid players going into this upcoming season. Stephen Curry at 59.6. The Joker at 55.2. Joel Embiid. Will the process earn some of that money, man? Boy, oh boy. What a lucky guy, man. $55 million coming to the process, and he might not even play a single game this year. You got KD, 54.7. And Jimmy Buckets. 80. Jason Tatum and Giannis all coming in at $54 million this season, rounding out the top 5. And then right under that, so a guy Karl Anthony Towns, 53. Towns is still on his old deal, getting that paper still. So there it is. That's your top 5 plus Karl Anthony Towns right under that.
Yeah. And these numbers keep going up. As soon as this deal, they'll renegotiate the collective bargaining agreement in a couple of years. Probably see, you're going to see $100 million salaries, no question about it. Then you look at CP, the high value contract extensions that happened last year. Jason Tatum, 5 years, up to $314 million. He's going to miss most of this season. Yep. He signed that in 2024, July 1. Jaylen Brown, of course, And then you saw the Celtics have to get rid of some salary cap because they just took on these massive numbers. And then Embiid, you mentioned 3 years, 193 million. He signed back in September of 2024. So a lot of people getting paid, a lot of people who might not be playing getting paid a lot of money. So it is no picnic being an owner because you're making a big gamble on that. But there is a statistic that I absolutely love that it's so Investopedia. I got to share it with you.
Go ahead. Let's do it.
Which is the wins per player cost ratio. It's like a cost efficiency rating for these teams. So how many games are they winning based on their payroll? What's that ratio look like? I think it's completely fascinating. The Knicks, by the way, that ratio is 139. Anything over 100 is positive, right? But you want to be even higher than that. Then I broke it down to see, which teams have the highest ranking there, the highest rating there. Oklahoma City Thunder, world champs, highest efficiency rating per player. Followed by the Celtics, right? This is sort of the wins above the million, per player. Then the T-Wolves, then the Lakers, then the Pistons. So we're not in the top 5. But that efficiency rating, as an owner, you got to be thinking about that constantly. True. Besides the 100 other things that are going on. If you're running this, you're running a business, and that is a key operating metric for NBA owners and the franchises.
Great point. As we mentioned, the team salaries. You know where Jalen Brunson is on that list?
Probably 25 or
46.
46.
Cap is 46th, the 46th highest paid player in the NBA going into next season at $34.9 million. $34.9 million for Captain
Cap's the bargain. He's a bargain.
Yeah. Desmond Bane is going to be making more than him. Rudy Gobert, Jalen Suggs is going to be making more than Jalen Brunson. Jaren Jackson Jr., Bam, De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Maxey, LaMelo, Brandon Ingram.
Bradley Beal.
Of course, yeah, Bradley Beal, definitely. Definitely. Porter Jr., Franz, Scotty Barnes, Harden, Darius Garland.
Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah, Bobby Bonilla. Yeah, very interesting. Shout out to Cap for making the ultimate sacrifice, man. But yeah, Chef is coming in at 59. So shout out to Chef Curry. Before we transition to fully Knicks, have you been following the Adam Silver, Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers fallout?
Oh, I'm amazed by it. Great reporting by my pal Pablo Torre, who kind of broke this story. And when you think about some of these salary numbers or some of these deals, and it just keeps getting weirder and weirder when you read some of this stuff online, some of it I believe because it comes to really good reporting, but how do you get these players to agree to these deals when there's other money out there? And if Pablo's reporting is right, and there is a paper trail that backs it up, then the owners have been doing some pretty shady sideline deals to try to pad the salary. And I think some of these shadow companies or these bankrupt companies that they started and they gave shares to the players and they paid them out even though the companies were going bust. Completely fascinating. I think it's just the beginning. It's one of those things you start to pull that string, CP, you're going to unravel enormous ball of thread out there, and you're going to be like, who else is wrapped into this? And I think we're going to have some surprises come our way, and they may be really, really interesting for some of our favorite players there. Pablo is onto something.
I agree with you 100%, and it just seems like he's just letting out more and more by the day. He's like, I'm not done. Here's a little bit more, and it is getting layered. So very interesting as we open the show talking about the NBA's new TV deal. Adam Silver on the clock because he's been in a bit of a denial about the situation. You have the All-Star game in LA. And with the league entering this deal, looking at the next new scandal. So, maybe he's earning his money after all, Adam Silverman.
Yeah, well, they find a way. But also, between the deal that went down with Luka Doncic and a lot of the things that happen in the league where you almost can't believe it. It just seems too unbelievable to be true. Usually there's a lot more going on than we'll ever know. And I think in this case, and in a lot of cases with some of these big salaries or some of these big star players, especially the ones that have cachet and can throw their weight around, I think owners have made some really interesting and potentially dangerous deals to try to make sure that they land the players that they want or that they think their franchise needs.
Yeah, good points, man. Good points. Salute to Knicks Nation in the chat. Salute to our Fanchise channel members on this Friday. My guy Mellow Mike, Eric L. Beats, John Talento. A lot of the regulars in here. The Shell. Salute to you, Daniel Beausejour. Salute to you guys on this Friday, man. We hope everybody is doing well. Just a quick announcement. Remember, our first premium fan experience has been announced at Madison Square Garden, and the first game we are going to as a family will be Knicks versus Bucks. Black Friday, the Brunson versus the Greek Freak. Captain Clutch versus the Greek Freak, man. Black Friday, November 28th, 7:30 tip-off. The tickets will include a premium seat in the lower bowl. You'll have a premium fan experience. That might be pregame shoot-around, get to watch the team practice, or the free throws, the key free throws. I'm hot right now. I made my last two. Or it could be a group photo. We're still waiting on the final word from MSG on that. But it will be one of those three premium experiences, plus a KFTV gift pack and food and drinks at our watch party location at Clinton Hall 36. That'll either be pregame or postgame, depending on what the experience is. You can get your tickets at knicksfantv.com, and we'll see you there, man. Looking forward to seeing you there. We see some repeat attendees from last year already signed up and got their tickets. So make sure you guys are signing up at knicksfantv.com to get yours. And also, as we talk about the season, our digital calendar is now available. We have the whole schedule, the whole Knicks schedule programmed to go directly to your phone calendar, whether you have an iPhone or an Android phone. And within those links, within those notifications, when you get those calendar notifications, you will have links to Postgame Live. You will have links to tickets if you need tickets for the game that night. And you will also have links, if we're having a watch party that night, you will have links to get your watch party tickets. So a great resource, a free resource to have for all of our fans out there. I'm going to drop the iPhone and the Android links in the chat shortly. So make sure you guys just click on it and add it to your phone. And that way you will never miss a Knick game in what will be the most anticipated season since, Caleb, you can fill in the blank there. Since
1973.
Talk about it, man. How you feeling right now, man?
Come on, man. We have been waiting so long for a chip. And look, it's great to have a really competitive team. This is a team we can all get behind. They have taken us, as deep as we've been in the playoffs in a very long time. And it's a really likable team, right? But we got to taste the chip. We got to taste the championship. And I know, everybody wants that, and it's super hard to do it. But people got to remember the NBA season is a battle of attrition. We've managed, knock wood, to stay relatively healthy, absent Mitch and a few games here and there. Staying healthy, being consistent, finding like a good team philosophy and a good vibe and rhythm together is the most important thing. But being healthy come spring, that's everything, because we see what happens in these playoff games. We had our shot. We had a window last year because some key people went down, and we maintained our health. So I'm optimistic about it. But yeah, I think this is as hopeful as we've been as far as I can remember as a Knick fan. And we had some fluky years when we made it with my guy Spree to the finals in that weird shortened year. But this feels like a real team. I feel like the coaching philosophy is tight and consistent. It was a little bit of a shock to the system, when Tibbs got fired. But I think everybody now is accepting that this is the team we're going to war with. No more drama since then. And let's go. Let's get this done.
Let's go. I'm with you 100%. And I like the fact that as we've been building up, this is now year 9 of Knicks Fan TV. And we were all watching this organic, if you will, path to legit contender status. This is new. This is new for us. We have not seen that. After the 90s, we were always chasing the dragon, chasing the big name. Who's going to be the guy that's going to save us? We need the savior. We need that white knight. And it's never come, right? We've had the big names. We haven't had big success. But they've been building this thing brick by brick. Brunson, getting lucky there, Hart trade, OG trade, Cat trade, and this has been kind of an unorthodox, if you will, because it's not really led by homegrown talent, but it's been an unorthodox build that's gotten them to legit status.
And that's what you have to do in today's NBA. Shout out to you and Ian Begley. Had a great conversation about this, about the masterclass, really, that Leon Rose and Will Y. West have been putting on here in general management and managing and putting together a team for this decade, for the way the NBA works today. It is not easy, right? There's the personality part of it. There's the salary cap part of it. There's the baggage part of it. There's all the different things you have to navigate to assemble a team that you can have a realistic run with for 3 to 5 years. And it's really hard to do that. Just think about players like KD. How many teams has he been on in the last 5 to 6 years? It's hard to keep people around. And it's hard to keep people happy. So this has been, as Ian and you talked about, a masterclass. People, if they haven't seen that show, they should check it out because you love hearing you guys break it down. And that's what you need. And hopefully that's enough. Plus health. Health is everything in this league, especially if you have solid talent. And when you look, the Celtics have gotten weaker, obviously, because Tatum went down, and he'll be back though. Don't think twice about it. He'll be back in the spring, and other teams have gotten weaker. But there's some really strong teams in the East that we're going to have to deal with that have just gotten stronger. Orlando's one of them that we're going to have to deal with. Atlanta didn't get worse. They're going to be a handful to deal with. Milwaukee's always a handful to deal with, and playing our way through through a season and trying to remain healthy. That's going to be the big challenge. Come playoff time, I like our chances against anybody.
And as you said, health is the biggest factor. How do you feel about the new coach coming in and Tibbs gone, and where did you stand on that when it all went down?
Yeah, I was a Tibbs fan, but I also did feel like he didn't listen to a lot of people. There wasn't a lot of people getting through to him, just in the way that, we never really got to know the assistant coaches. The only one we knew was Rick because, he was a former Knick and he's Jalen's father. But you didn't feel like, even though they put him up at halftime, that there was any influence there. And then there were some bonehead plays in the playoffs that are all coaching to me, right? The players have talent. People make mistakes, but I thought that there were some mistakes there may have ended up costing him his job, plus the fact that he was pretty hard-headed once he made up his mind. But that's what you get when you hire a Tom Thibodeau. That's the kind of coach he is, and it makes him great. That said, I'm okay with a new voice at the top for the Knicks, with a new coach. Mike's younger, knows a lot of these players. He has a nice style that I think is going to fit our game really well. I want to make sure that we're as tough on defense as we are going to be flying down the court. But I'm ready for the new philosophy. I like the staff that he put together from what I know about them. And he doesn't seem like a high drama coach to me either. And I think that's kind of what we need. We got enough drama going on right now. We just need to buckle down, play hard, find a rhythm as a team, find that sort of, what is the Knick identity now going to look like? What's that going to feel like? And I think he's the right guy to foster that through Jalen and through some of the other veterans too.
How do you feel about the bench upgrades? I'm very excited about that. I think that has a lot of potential, especially where the bar was set last year. Again, nothing against those guys. We just needed more talent. Yes, people want to say, well, Tibbs didn't play them. He didn't play them. And now you're looking at them potentially trading some of these guys, and some of these guys not even coming back because it just wasn't all that good. So now you bring in Clarkson, you bring in Yabusele. From what we're hearing, they bring in Brogdon with the intention to keep him and maybe even Shamet. Plus, you get Hart and Mitch off the bench. Gotten stronger, man.
Plus Deuce.
Deuce.
And I'm hoping really that this is Deuce's breakthrough year. He had some moments in the playoffs, but I hope that this is a breakthrough year, sixth man of the year type of year for him, where he just finds his swagger and finally gets paid too. So I love the upgrades. I think Clarkson's a baller. I think he can have one of those 25-point nights for us when we need it. Cam was like that every third or fourth game, and you never knew. He was the yes. Or please never do that again.
Right.
That was a fun 47 seconds of playtime. Now you can please go back to cheering on the rest of the team. I like the upgrades. Yabusele, I think, is a beast. And I was a Precious fan, but Precious you couldn't rely on offensively, even though sometimes he would really get things going with a monster jam down the lane. It was his defense and his intensity that we liked, but you need players who can, when they get their back to the basket one-on-one, can put it up and score, in the 50% range and then make free throws.
Yeah, you need skill. That was the thing with Precious. He gave you some hustle, especially 2 years ago. Last year was a little up and down with him. He had a couple nice posters, couple nice dunks that would get you excited, but you needed a bit more skill at that position. And I think Yabusele is an adequate replacement. Today's actually Precious' birthday. Precious, you would turn 26 today. So the rumors out there that the Miami Heat is interested. So we'll see. Hopefully he lands on his feet, man. You want to see guys continuing their career, whether it's with the Knicks or not. So,
and he's a good dude too.
Yes.
Bronx's own. He's a good guy.
Exactly.
We want the best for him.
Bronx finest, man. CP the Fanchise, Caleb Silver in the building. Once again, we want to salute everybody in the chat on this beautiful Friday here in New York. Hopefully you guys are having a good day. If you guys are on the grind, throw us a hashtag grind. We will shout you guys out. The Fanchise channel members are in here heavy, man. Stevie Nicks, I see you. Jack City, what's going on? Mellow Mike always in here. Will Latimer, shout out to Will checking in from the ATL. Shout out to our ATL family as well. All right, Caleb, it's worst take time. Did we do a worst take yet? Where we had you react to any sound bites?
I feel like maybe a couple of years ago we might have done one.
Okay,
so let's bring it back. I'm ready.
All right, cool. So. With that being said, let me just find my logo here. Let's take it to Worst Take. And on Worst Take, we go around the NBA media landscape, whether it's a podcast or it's a blog, a newsletter post, or hey, maybe it's even, a crazy comment from your group chat that you guys want us to react to, and we react to it. We give a rating and we give our response to it. The rating, as you guys know in the chat, 1 being trash, all the way up to 5 being facts. So on the first one, I got 2 clips here that we're going to play here, Caleb. On the first one, we're going to talk about Mario Chalmers. This is Mario Chalmers and our guy Iman Shumpert, where Shump is asking Chalmers, are the Knicks a championship team? So let's hear what Mario has to say here, and we'll have you react to it on the other side. Here we go.
New York Knicks 2026 roster is in championship form. You tailing that or you fading it?
2026, JB, Cat, Bridges, OG, fading that. They missing one more piece.
What type of piece you talking?
I think they're missing that dominant big. I think Cat is decent. Cat is good what he's good for, but
You want a true big man.
yeah, they need somebody that can really block it and give them a presence on the offensive end too, as well as the defensive end.
All right, Caleb. So Mario Chalmers says they're missing one more piece and says that they need a dominant big man. He feels like the big man is the dominant piece. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, we do have the piece. The question is, will the piece be dominant? We saw moments with Cat last year where that was the Cat we wanted, right? Not on D, but Cat's got a beautiful, beautiful offensive game. And if he can be that guy and be a suitable defender, I think we got the piece. There's maybe 3 or 4 big men like the ones he's talking about out there and none of them are available.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're talking about here. Like in that case, it's trash to me because we got the guy. The guy's just got to turn it up, earn his paycheck, and play like a champion. And I think if we have a Cat that is 25 points a game, getting boards, at least 5-6 boards a game, making his free throws and not letting his whoever he's guarding take him to the house too many times, that's enough for us. When you think about the other pieces that we have, I think that should be enough for us. So it's a question of him dialing it up.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. So what are you rating that, man? 1 being trash, 5 all the way up to 5 being facts. What are you rating that take there by Mario Chalmers?
I'm going to give that a 2.2.
Okay. All right.
Because there is some truth to that, but I think we actually have the piece. The piece just has to play like the piece.
You know what? I'm with you. I'll give it a 2 in that regard as well. I was going to give it a 1 because it's Mario Chalmers. He's former Miami Heat. My Heat hater senses go off anytime I hear one of those guys talk. So, I always want to trash him. But I'll give it a 2. And I'm with you in that it is Towns on the offensive side, and we want to see him emerge and be that guy and be dominant consistently. But from a defensive standpoint, has Mario Chalmers ever watched Mitchell Robinson play basketball? I almost think Mario Chalmers skipped the entire NBA playoffs because if he did watch, he would see that not only do the Knicks have a good big man tandem offensively and defensively, he would also see that no team in the Final Four had a dominant big man. The OKC Thunder just won with Hartenstein as their starting 5. The Pacers came in there with Miles Turner. Both teams very good on the perimeter. I mean, I think it's a different game now. The last time when you look at the NBA Finals, look at champions, all right, you want to go to the Joker, who played the 5 for the Nuggets. Okay, fine. Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame, once-in-a-lifetime player. But other than that, this is a different time. And Mario Chalmers, an NBA champion, played with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. His big man was Joel Anthony. So Mario Chalmers, of all people, should understand that you don't necessarily need a dominant big if your team is balanced correctly. Now, where they could be missing the piece, where the piece could be missing, I think, is in that the tertiary ball handler, shot creator. Is it going to be Mikal Bridges in Mike Brown's new offense? I think that is where, what we might be missing here, and what I'm going to be curious to see all year long into the playoffs. Like, how does Bridges' role offensively evolve with this team? Where do they have enough balance to not have to rely on Brunson and Cat to save them in isolation situations?
That's a great question. And so who is going to handle the ball, bringing it up the court? Because it is exhausting. You can see the wear down Jalen Brunson as the year goes on, even though he seems indestructible. But at some point, 29 years old, I think he is.
Yeah.
Young still, but old in NBA numbers. It takes a toll. So who can handle that for us? Who can create shots? Mikal, we saw when he gets across the lane with the fadeaway and his move, but teams figure that out too. So they'll close it off at some point. Can he effectively handle and be a distributor and give Jalen a break there? Can Clarkson be that guy who can handle and put up some points for us and take some pressure off of Jalen? And then, I would like to see OG have a bigger offensive season too.
Yeah.
We saw some moments in the playoffs where it was like dominating, right? When he gets it going, when he gets mad, he's an absolute dog. So he's not a ball handler, but he's somebody that the defense is going to have to focus on if he starts getting a little bit more aggressive. So we'll see what Coach Brown has to do, his setups and his schemes in terms of getting other people involved and giving Jalen a break off the ball.
Good takes. Good people in the chat. Rate that take in the chat, man. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. Let us know what you guys are thinking here. I see Frank White gave him a 1. He's not feeling it, man. Stevie Nicks, 1.5. Oh, Hector Vasquez gave it a 4. All right. Hector, what's going on, man? Give us your rationale here. Let us know, man. We're open to all opinions here. Will Latimer, a 2. Okay. There we go. All right, so the chat is speaking here, Caleb. Shout out to our guy Lee Bloxham checking in from the UK. He drops a 1 in there. Shout out to our guy Lee, diehard KFTV. He's definitely a day one. Okay, here is the second one, and this one comes from the governor of Knicks Nation. At least this is what we dubbed him a couple years ago. That is Big Perk, Kendrick Perkins, on NBA Today. Here is what he had to say about the New York Knicks. We're going to play the clip, and then we'll have Caleb react to it. Here we go.
When it really is looking like the New York Knicks are head and shoulders, maybe along with a couple of other teams like the Cavaliers, above everybody else, how do you feel about them heading into this season?
They are. To me, they're the best team in the Eastern Conference, right? We know that the Celtics, they are somewhat in the rebuild mode. Okay, the Cavs, I don't trust them. I trust Big Body Bronson as the leader of that ball club, and they addressed the issues that they needed to address. You go and you get some bench players that's going to come in and play their role while still keeping your entire core together. We know OG Anunoby. We know what he's going to bring to the table for us being that 3-and-D guy. At times he looked like Scottie Pippen. Josh Hart, he's going to come back on the mission. Obviously, they just re-signed Mikal Bridges, and I'm looking forward to see what Karl Anthony Towns look like under a new voice of their locker room and Mike Brown. I think we're going to see the best version of him. If you ask me, I'm all in on the Knicks for us in the Eastern Conference. No slight to nobody else. I just feel like they checked all the boxes, and they're the best team in the Eastern Conference right now on paper.
All right, Caleb. Big Perk standing on Knicks business. Says we're the best in the East right now.
Yeah, standing on business, and I'd like to take him out to dinner. I give that a 5. He's 100% right.
Let's go.
On paper, he's right. We are the best team in the league, and some of the things he's on paper, but some of the things he said that are super important. We have basically the same core.
Yes.
Right? Other teams are in a rebuilding mode right now. There's a different voice in the locker room, but this team has now had a couple of seasons together with Towns, or at least a season together with Towns, so they kind of know who each other is where each other, where to find each other on the court, also who are the leaders in the locker room. I think that's all been established right now. So we have the consistency, hopefully the health. We have an incredible defensive backup center, who's a game changer. We saw what he can do, and I think he's right. And I think the East is going to be tough, but I think that the biggest threats to us in the East, I think Cleveland's still a threat. I mean, you cannot count out that team. They're pretty good, even though they traded a pretty big chip there. I think, as I said earlier, that Orlando's going to be better now. They've had a few years together. They're young. They're tall. They're long. They're athletic. They're going to give us a hard time. And Atlanta, I think, is also better than they were, and they're going to give us a hard time because they always do. But I do think that, we're a 1-2 seed. I think the betting odds have the Knicks as one of the top, I think, fourth top team in the league right now, which looks just the way it looked at the end of last year, pretty much for the most part. Oklahoma City being number one, most likely to repeat too, and that squad is tough. But we're in the top four, and that's what you can hope for. Be in that Final Four, be healthy towards the end of the season, make the run. Hopefully you get that window, something breaks the right way, and we're running down 7th Avenue in the back of a Cadillac.
There you go. All right, so what are you giving it? 1 to 5, 1 being trash, 5 being facts.
Yeah, 5 being facts.
Let's go.
He's standing on business. He's right.
Yeah.
The question is, will we play up to it? But I don't disagree with him at all. And I bleed orange and blue, but I do think he's right. And when he doesn't shy away from how he feels.
Yeah. Shout out to Big Burke, the governor. I'll give it a 5 as well. With this caveat, I think that we could see this happening in terms of them being the best team in the East come playoff time, because I want to see how do they adjust to this new system. How do they, reestablish that chemistry under this new system? From what we've heard just from different sound bites and people that are familiar with Mike Brown, the offense will involve a little bit more ball movement, a little bit more player movement. So if that's the case, do they take the ball out of Jalen's hands a little bit more? How does that look? How comfortable will they be in that? The new bench pieces, I want to see what those growing pains look like in the beginning of the season. And so while they go through that, I would expect a team like a Cleveland, who has everything rolling over from last year, including coaching, a strong regular season team, as they've been even before Kenny Atkinson. I think they can kind of pick up where they left off. But in the playoffs, like Big Perk said, I don't trust them. And I think that is where the Knicks will establish themselves as the team to beat in the East, as you said, as long as they stay healthy.
Let me ask you this, CP. How do you, when you look at a season, and you're a longtime fan, so do you break it up into quarters, into thirds? Are you going to, when do your evaluations happen? 10 games in, 20 games in? How do you break it up?
For this team, it's to me, I think they're going to need a lot of time. We need some time to see how they adjust under Mike Brown. I would say by, All-Star break. Usually if this was Tibbs, we'd say maybe 20 games. Let's see what's going on. But even by All-Star break. But at the same time, man, we've been seeing so many ebbs and flows in a season. Last year was a perfect indicator where, it was a perfect example of you can't put too much stock in the regular season. Because look at what happened, right? They couldn't beat the elites. Couldn't beat the C's, couldn't beat the Cavs, couldn't beat OKC. They got washed, and yet and still they found themselves 2 games away from the NBA Finals. And they got stronger as that postseason went on. Now, Pacers were a different matchup for them, and the Pacers proved to be a better team. But I think really, especially with this team, I think it's the playoffs.
Yeah,
it's the playoffs.
I agree with
really
you.
See who they are.
We used to make a big deal about which seed you are and the home team, the home town advantage, and it makes a difference at MSG, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But you can't imagine a world, unless something terrible happens, where we're not in the top 4 or the top 5 in the East. If that's not happening, something's very wrong here. That team is not built that way. So once you're in there, as long as you're healthy going into that stretch and you're in that top 4 or 5, I don't think it matters as much. Knicks prove they really play well on the road. They're a really good road team, and I don't, as long as we're there, I don't think you need to hurt yourself to get there. And I wouldn't hit the panic button anytime soon if we get off to kind of a weird start here. But the pieces are in place.
Yeah, well, Knicks fans, they certainly didn't hear that last thing you just said. So, come the first 2-3 game losing streak, we're going to be sounding off the alarm, and we'll be right here talking about it as a family on the number one show for the fans by the fans. So, very much looking forward to that, man.
And you will say, as you always do, nobody panic. This is 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
It's an 82-game season.
They had the pitchforks out for me when we lost the back-to-back to the Spurs and the Hornets. Remember that time in April? And Svi Mamaluski, I don't want to butcher the guy's name. The guy dropped 34 points on us off the bench. And everything was caving in. We're not going to beat Detroit. We can't beat these guys. We stink. We this, we that. Almost made it to the finals, man.
Yep.
Yeah. It changes that quickly. So very much looking forward to it and having you back on to discuss it all. Let's talk real life, man. We got hundreds of people in the chat, man. Everybody going about their daily business and on the grind. Let's talk. Let's close the show on some money talk real quick, man. The Fed did drop their interest rate this week. What should the people be focusing on? For the average consumer, how is this impacting us in our day-to-day lives?
Yeah, with the interest rate drop we've all been waiting for since last December, it was only a quarter point. So it's not going to make a very big difference. But know this, the trend for interest rates is down and to the right. They will be going lower through the end of next year at the very least. That means a couple of things. That means the cost of borrowing is going to be cheaper. So you'll see eventually some easing up in mortgage rates. They're connected, not that tightly connected, but they are. The 30-year fix, which has been very high. Nobody's buying or selling homes right now. You'll see a lowering of car interest payments and credit card APRs as well, but just a little bit. But as we get lower and lower, as interest rates go lower, those will ease up a little bit. The stock market loves low interest rates. If you see right now, we're at record highs. Give me an air horn there somewhere, but we're at record highs, and we've been dancing around record highs for the past few weeks. Corporate profits are good. Interest rates are going lower. There's lots of deregulation. This administration's pretty much an anything goes when it comes to companies making money and making money themselves, so anything goes, and that's good for corporations and their bottom line. So if you're an investor, this has been a heck of a time to be invested in the stock market or in other risky assets, because this is kind of like green light go, and at some point it'll end because the economy is slowing a little bit, and we feel it in the labor market with the unemployment rate rising and not that many jobs being added every single month for the past few months, massive revisions to last year's jobs numbers, and inflation's popping, and we got tariffs that are adding to that. The flip side, though, of so the economy's slowing and some people are feeling it a lot more than others. But if you're an investor and you own assets and you own stocks, you've been doing very well. Not just this year, not just last year, for the past 10 years. It's been an unbelievable time to be invested. So you have to be in it. You have to be invested if you're going to try to grow your wealth and make it to that next level. And the other part about the lowering of interest rates is the flip side is for those of us that have been enjoying 4 or 5% in the bank in CDs and money market accounts and high yield savings accounts. Those days are coming to an end soon. So if you can lock in a rate with the money you like to have in the bank, lock it in because rates are going down.
There we go, man. Well said. Excellent show as always, man. Great session, great cipher with you, man. And I'm looking forward to catching up with you when the season starts, man.
Always good to be with you. Knicks Fan TV, number one show for the fans, by the fans. There ain't no party like a Knicks Fan TV watch party. Make sure you get down to one or several this season. It is so much fun to get your Knick Freak on with people that just love and bleed the orange and blue like you do. And you guys do such a great job at KFTV. Shout out to you. Shout out to the whole KFTV fam, all the listeners, all the viewers, all the supporters. It's an honor to be with you as usual. And let's go Knicks. 33 days, CP. Let's go.
33 days. Caleb Silver, everybody, man. Caleb, have a great weekend. Recoup, rest up, and back to the grind next week, man. We'll talk.
All right, man. You too. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's our guy, Caleb Silver. Everybody in the chat, hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel, man. That's our guy. Great show, man. Really dissected the league from dollars and cents terms. We got into a little bit of the Knicks. And also, hey man, some money talk for you guys at home to just some things to think about. Look, man, sports is great. It's a great outlet to talk about, but real life is real. So we like to bring Caleb on to kind of talk about that. A lot of us are older. We got families to raise, kids to raise. So there's some things to think about, man. Once again, salute to my Fanchise channel members for tapping in with us. HB Carlos checking in from Portugal. Shout out to you, man. Jack City, I see you, man. Salute to Jack City. Frank White, appreciate you. Eric, appreciate you as usual. Ty Busy, salute to you. AP, salute to you, man. Salute. How you feeling, bro? Okay, who else we got in here? Richard Miranda, I see you. All right, man. I'm going to go get out of here, hit the gym, enjoy the day, probably go for a walk, maybe a bike ride or something, man. And you guys be great. Enjoy the weekend. And hey, if anything happens as it relates to the final roster spot or things of that nature, you guys know where to find us, man. But also tap in on some of the previous content that we did this week. Catch up on this show. Salute to the replay gang. Stephen Bondi, we had a great show, training camp preview, and talking about the player development of the youngsters and who might be traded, potential, some surprising names on that. So make sure you guys tap into that episode. And then the Ian Begley episode, great episode in studio with Ian Begley as we preview the upcoming season. So as promised, man, we never leave you guys lacking when it comes to Knicks content. Number one show for the fans, by the fans. All we ask is for your support in doing these three things. Hit the like button, share this video, share it in your group chat, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe on our social media channels, and that's the best way you can support us on a daily basis for absolutely free. Okay? Well, Adam, appreciate you, man. This is Happy Born Day, CP. Absolutely appreciate you, man. He appreciate you. Going to be out here celebrating this weekend with the family, so feeling humbled and blessed and excited to see another year, God willing. So you guys be great.